You pick it.
Okay, we're at the beach now, and I remember a time when I was just a little shaver. I don't know, all the Wilson boys came down to the beach now. I don't know which beach, down to the ocean. And they had a wee of a time. They used to wrestle just like a bunch of teenage kids out there between themselves. You know, they were grown men, married men. And but I remember they'd all hold hands and they'd hang on each other and get out just as far as they could in the surf. You know, the stupidest thing you probably do, you know, trying to drown themselves.
And each other.
And others, yeah. You know, I remember that, and I don't have any idea how old I was, but I wasn't, you may remember something, I don't know.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
Sunset Beach.
I couldn't tell you, just ocean's all I know.
Somewhere.
I know the waves were rolling in, and they were getting out just as far as they could, and they'd
Sounds
hold
like
hands
fun.
together just to see how far they could get out on the end.
Next.
Well, when you weren't at the beach, what were you doing? What were they doing? What kind of things happened at home?
Well, I was 3 years old when they came to Pickleton, and my folks run a store there, and they worked at it long and hard for many years.
It was on my birthday, my ninth birthday.
Moved in on her ninth birthday in Pickleton, and they had a kid that lived across the street from me named Keith Jensen, just my age, and I wasn't very conversational, and the front yard of the house we moved into was, had a swinging front yard gate and upright pickets, and one picket was missing. I crawled up that gate and was sitting where that picket was missing and kicking the gate, swinging back and forth, and he stood out in the middle of Main Street and threw rocks at me. He was a lifelong friend, as they made fun of.
It was windy, and blew that cheap grass. My mother stamped her foot and said, "I'll just stay here 1 year, Harry."
Well, she came from a house that had indoor plumbing, and they didn't have it there.
So Dad put it in.
Into the cold,
Sure, it hadn't gone into.
windy day.
Where'd you move from?
Portland.
But I had heard that in Portland, the H.O. Wilson family survived on cornflakes and milk, because that was all they could afford during the time they ran a store down there. That's what my dad always used to say that the only money you had was to buy cornflakes and milk, and that's what you lived on for a month or so at a time. I think things were pretty tough.
They went into the market down there, into the public market, and had a stand in Portland. They must have sold potato salad or whatever they sell in the...
Sold cheese, I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard, I don't remember, but I
And
heard
my dad went broke, people couldn't sell, he was selling,
Wash machine, really?
and for a place in the Dalles, it's still there, I think.
Hampton Furniture Company, worked for them and sold appliances and things, and take in old appliances on trade and take the paper to the bank, and people couldn't pay the bank, so it came back to Dad, and he couldn't pay that, so he basically went broke.
He didn't take bankruptcy, though, he paid back every cent.
He had to borrow $300 to move to Pickleton.
And he got a job running the Farmers Bank.
Yeah, they hired
offered a job by some group up there with him?
Well, the store was a co-op, farmers co-op.
Yeah.
They called it the Farmers
Yeah.
Mercantile Company.
Farmers store.
And it was various farmers had put the money in to finance that store. It was financed for $10,000 as a stock on Gordon stock certificate, and they had needed some. Well, to embellish the story a little bit, why Elmer was running a store out in Centerville.
That's what I was gonna say.
And he was doing, and Sam Ross here was going through Centerville, and he stopped there, and he made the comment that, I sure wish we had someone in Pickleton to run a store like this. And Elmer says, I know just the man.
There's a red and white store.
There's a red and white
Red
store
and
that
white.
Elmer ran.
Yeah,
Well, one of the things that strikes me as you're talking, I think my dad, his entire life, was in partnership with one or another of his brothers. From herding sheep with Clyde. I don't know if he was ever in business with your dad.
Yep.
Was he?
Yep, because Dad came to Goldendale from, I think, Gold Beach,
Yeah,
I think, and he was doing mechanic work there at the
Yeah.
at the Plymouth Chrysler
the
Plymouth
Plymouth,
dealership that was run by Elmer and
then,
Charlie.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
And I always kind of thought my dad was the guy who was always looking for a pot of gold at the end of the radio and never found it because he, you know, we moved around from
You moved more
Myrtle
than
Point
the rest
to
of the
Gold
family,
Beach to Goldendale, and then the war broke out. I remember because he and I were out pouring concrete on Sunday morning when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And subsequent to that, then he went to Vancouver and had enough skill to get a job as a carpenter, building houses for people that were building the Liberty ships down
Yeah.
there.
In the shipyards,
Well, then
Vanport.
he and Dale went into partnership on a building down on C Street in Kennewick.
Well, then after he got an offer he couldn't turn down in Bickleton because which Ferguson.
Randall Ferguson.
Randall Ferguson was running a pretty good sized ranch there, cattle and sheep, and he got drafted.
Cattle and wheat.
Yeah, cattle and wheat. And he got drafted, and he had to have somebody run the ranch. And I think that was the chance that my dad had been waiting his whole life for, is to run that ranch. And of course, Randall's dad, I don't remember what his name was.
Bob Ferguson.
He kept a close eye on everything my dad did, but he ran that ranch until Randall came back from the service. And then, of course, he didn't have anything to do again, and looked around for a long time for a place of his own, but didn't have enough money to buy one. So that's when we ended up moving down to Sunnyside. And in order to find something to survive with, we built houses, remodeled houses and built houses.
Isn't Randall Ferguson the fellow that you went all through South America with?
Yeah, we went to South America one.
That's a great story, Dick, you should tell that
Yeah.
story.
Well, your fast car years. My wife used to hear about fast cars.
Yeah, and climbing mountains.
Well, I went to, Randall was one of these impetuous sort of fellows, and one of these days he said, I'd like to go to South America. He had visions of grandeur and expansion. He thought he could get down into Venezuela. They had a lot of good land down there that hadn't been utilized yet. So I guess we'd go, and so we made arrangements, got all the paperwork done, and my father, he was jealous. He'd like to go along, and old Bob Ferguson, he thought Randall had a guardian for him. Randall's dad.
Yeah.
And so we traveled through 3 months in South America, through Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru.
Driving, right? You were driving.
We sold an international pickup a few years ahead of that, and he put a canopy in the back end of it. We drove that thing down through South America 3 months. Every country except Uruguay and Bolivia. Then we sold it to someone for cash money down there, an international dealer, and bought airplane tickets and flew home.
They were written up in a magazine,
He had a company magazine that put a little story.
International Harvester.
I've got that somewhere.
And then we rattled, and I went to the Mexican road race twice.
Did you win?
Well, he come in second or third the first year. Second year he wrecked his car and never finished the race.
Tell how that road race was run. Tell what you did during a day, how that race was run from one border,
I was
northern border to
you turn down to Tuxtla, which is the race starts, turn down next to Guatemala, and I was on the intermediate stop. The race had a night stop. They stopped every night against the clock, and then in the morning they started off against the time clock, so everybody was about the same time. And I was in the intermediate stop. They pulled in there, and you had to gas up and change tires, adjust belts, whatever you needed. That's probably maybe set the brakes a little bit. And then we'd race would pull out. All was there about 3/4 of an hour, and then they'd gas up, and then they'd go up the starting line, start out again, and we'd take off and follow the race up to the next intermediate stop through the intermediate regular stops regarding Guadalajara and Parral and Mexico City, of course, and we were intermediate in between that, and myself and a local mechanic in Bickleton were the intermediate crew. A lot of fun. Ronald was one time he says, let's climb Mount Rainier. So, just on the spur of the moment, nobody had any climbing experience.
You didn't train for
Oh,
6 months.
Did you even go home to get a sweater?
Didn't even bother to go get a sweater. Didn't bother to go home and get the coat. So, anyhow, Bob Jarvis, who was just as innocent as I was, he talked us all going up to Mount Rainier and climbing Mount Rainier, and so we got up there and didn't know anything about it, while Bob and I, we finally realized we had to have crampons, climbing gear, walking on ice and all this, and so while we were gathering up this stuff and getting everything ready for that way, they realized you need a lunch. Real terrible, So we sent Randall out to get. He had the car, so he went out to get lunch supplies. The only could find everything was thick bars and prune juice.
Not the best.
Anyhow, it was a lot of fun.
When I was talking about the guys doing things together, the other thing that I've got a picture of and remember is that somehow a bunch of the guys went out to Montana. Because Montana at that time was kind of the last place where there's some land that you could get without any money. And I know Clyde,
always a problem with the
they were always
always
short.
a problem.
All of our families.
And Clyde was already
Yeah.
out there, and he had homesteaded near Bell Creek, which later, after he sold out, they found oil on, but after he died. But then after a year or two, my dad went out to join up with him, and Clyde and he lived in a one-room sod roof cabin, running sheep, I think, mostly. I don't think they farmed any. I think they were just running sheep. And then after a year or two, I think 1 year maybe, Clyde got married, and the only dwelling they had for the 3 people was a one-room cabin with 1 bed. And so the sleeping arrangement was apparently Clyde was in the middle, Ella was on one edge, and my dad was on the other edge of the bed.
You do what you got to do.
That was cold.
And the other picture I have, I've got a picture of the Broadus Roundup in 1922, so I know that was when he was there. A picture of both Clyde and Dad. And there's also a picture there of a line of barbed wire fence, as far as you could see, was covered with sheep felts. And apparently what happened is that a big blizzard came up, drove all the sheep up against the fence and smothered them, and in order to try and scratch something out of it, they skinned them all so that they could try and sell the pelts. And it was shortly after that that I think my dad went back to Washington State.
Well, my dad was there, Harry was
And
there.
Charlie was in Montana.
Well, he was there too, and I've never been real clear if it was with your dad or with Clyde. And then he and whichever one it was opened a grocery store in Miles City.
In Miles City.
That's where he met Mother, and they would butcher in the basements. But that was after the whatever they were doing with the.
Well, what were they doing? Was it Belir or in West?
Well, my parents went to Belir because that's where my mom was from. My dad, for a while, edited a newspaper there, and it was one of those other Wilson things. There wasn't anything you didn't think you could do.
Well,
You know, if a newspaper fell in your lap, you learned how to edit a newspaper, or you learned how to do all this.
They called the newspaper the Valerian.
The Valerian, and I went back there when we went to the reunion last time, I went to Belir, and I went to the archives, and it's there with his name on the masthead.
Is that right?
Yeah. But this herding sheep was quite a thing, and Daddy would tell about that they'd hang a carcass up of a creature, and it would get mold all over it, and then they'd cut it off, cut the mold off, and that was the best meat there possible to be, and, it would freeze.
Fantastic, huh?
And they were on horseback all the time, but again.
But Clyde was the only guy that ever did the homestead.
No, Father homesteaded.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
And he kept the oil right.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, because I don't think my dad stayed long enough to establish the homestead. I've got a plot there from whatever runs the homestead, which gives the latitude, longitude, township, location of where he was planning, but I don't think he ever carried through on it.
Ekalaka was the county seat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
Really is.
didn't, their dad die during that time, and
Pardon?
didn't their dad die?
I don't know, what it was that
I
got
think
my, maybe that was it.
That's
And Dad went back to help his mother.
That was maybe it.
That's what
I
the story
never-
I've heard, the only part I've
So
heard.
when did he die? Because I was thinking he died when,
Well, no, it must have been the date of that auction.
well, they hung, well, no, they stayed out there on the ranch after
Oh, they
that.
ran it for a while.
They ran it for a
Well,
while.
Clyde stayed for a long time, till then he
Well,
got
Harry did too.
shot, under fever, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and he
Yeah.
died from that.
Yeah.
Clyde did.
Yeah.
But Grandma stayed out on the ranch, 'cause the one that.
You mean
no,
in the Horseshoe Bend?
In Horseshoe Bend
Mhm.
for a while.
Well, Dad went back to help her,
Yeah,
we
your
always
dad,
heard.
your dad did, and,
Because on the auction notice of selling the ranch there at Centerville,
that was
it was,
27.
it was
What year was it?
Julia and Sons.
And that was
And so there must have
1927.
been a bunch of them there.
So my dad would have been 26 in 1927.
Yeah.
But he'd been other places, you
Mhm.
know. One of the places, I think it was Elmer and my dad, in the Presby Mansion in Goldendale, you know, the house there that's now a museum. They boarded and lived on the top of, up there, the very top, and went to high school.
Is that
I
right?
think that was Elmer, yeah,
Yeah.
for 1 year, I think. they went to high school.
I remember your dad telling about his soul full of brushes.
I think he
Yeah, he
did.
says they'd get together in the Multnomah Hotel all together, the people who sit out, had out to sell, and they'd sing songs and get themselves all revved up, and then they'd go out and sell brushes.
There it comes in.
Do that now? He didn't do that very long, yeah.
Just like Tupperware, you know, again.
Well, Mother taught school in the Horseshoe Bend area. She had with boys and younger boys in school. I don't remember. I think she tutored, or I think Charlie was in her class. Was he one of the younger ones?
He's the second to the youngest boy.
Yeah, and she wasn't teaching high school, but she helped him get through high school. He did all right.
He did all right.
Yeah.
Did he graduate from high school? My dad
No,
didn't.
no, he went to, I think maybe just that 1 year.
Yeah.
It's so hard to think now, Horseshoe
Yeah, I
Bend was so far, I mean, because the roads were so bad, that you just had to come in and stay, you know, you didn't go back and forth. I think it was just 1 year, but then he went to Binky Walker Business School in
Oh.
Portland, and he learned how to write names, that's why he had those great big
Oh,
C's on it.
Dad went down to Portland to business school.
Oh,
The same one.
that was their finishing, yeah.
Mhm.
He had a beautiful signature, the old timers did.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good script, they just, you know, it's just, well, the names around town there, they make you look sick the way they sign your name.
Oh.
It's just beautiful, you know. I can't read my own signature, they can thing of the past, now, unless you can sign it with 2 thumbs, you can't get it done.
Well, I know at some point, Ira Wilson was living in Centerville, and Marie said he was born there. And my grandparents, Grandma Adams and Grandpa Adams, traded houses. They had lived in, they came to live in town and they moved out in the ranch. They just traded, as I understand it.
Didn't your folks live up just above us in Horseshoe Bend on that road,
Well,
off the road to
yeah,
town?
we lived there for
I thought
my
that-
dad, we lived there for a year, because I can remember there was a knothole in the floor, and I dropped stuff from that knothole.
Remember?
It was primitive, I think. There's no road there now, because Uncle Lee tried to take us there.
Yeah, he tried to dig there, couldn't get there.
Yeah. There's a section of land, I think,
Yeah.
for it.
I thought my dad got some of the 300 acres from your folks.
I have no idea.
So I was told.
You probably heard right.
So Ernie, did my parents live in Myrtle Creek once, or,
Myrtle Creek,
well,
Myrtle Point.
Myrtle Point? What were they doing there? And that was a piece I never
I
quite.
don't recall them living in Myrtle Point. I do too, I'll take it back.
I don't think very long. But I've always kind of wondered why they were in Myrtle Point.
Story on your father and that gas station is in the family. It was on the corner, so it was a triangular station, and they put a goldfish pond out there,
I remember hearing about the goldfish pond.
and flowers, but the problem was that one dog went through there and wet on those flowers, so every dog went through and wet on them. So he decided that had to stop, so he rigged up a hot shot wire.
Oh, no.
Or coil,
Hot coil, and he punched that button when the dog would just start. Then it quit coming.
I could just imagine it turned everything off all right.
Yeah.
I thought we were headed to the
Well, he
fish.
he also had a coin that he
Yeah.
put on the counter, but it was wired too. So
Yeah.
somebody tried to pick it up, they did a big
Well,
shock.
Is
Yeah, yeah.
it nice,
Counter
sweet,
sensation.
wet? Nice man.
I think he got a lot of entertainment out of it.
There you go.
That's kind of Wilson entertainment, they kind of like that too.
Well, Harry had that too, the bird that,
Well, I had a little box, a little sliding cover, a little narrow box with a sliding cover on it. And, you put a little notch there, put your finger in it, and slide the cover back, and I wrote around the side, and with the big ink pen, do not open. I put it on the counter there. The farmers reach over, they slide the thing open, that little thing, jabbed right in the back of the head.
Yeah, that is.
Farmers are exactly, that's the way they are, they have to do that, you know.
and one particular farmer had to try it 3, maybe half a dozen times.
Oh, where, he catch on very quick.
Well, one thing I was just aware of all through my growing up was how important, my dad's brothers were to him. Just, he was always, you know, communication was certainly different than it is now, but he always knew what people were doing, and it was a really basic connection that never, in fact, I was in Goldendale when Harry died, and I think he was the last, but Delbert already died. I think, and that was just a real blow, I remember that.
Yeah,
He was the last man standing then, you know.
Ari lived longer than that. I think.
No, I don't think so, I think I was,
He went
Yeah,
on
he
the
was going, he was one of the first people.
What?
I always heard this,
No, not, I can't see that.
Elmer was only 71 when he died.
Jack was 75, wasn't
It was in 1969.
he? Was it?
I think the
He
one
was
you're
70.
talking about from Golden Mill was west, he died down in
Sunnyside.
Sunnyside. And I
When
remember,
did your dad die?
I just got married to
No, I
Joe.
don't remember, do you?
75.
And we were in the office there, and Charlie and Elmer were trying to figure out which one was gonna be the next one to go.
Well, you know, I know that my dad died when he wasn't quite 80 when he died, and I think I think it was probably 1970, but I'm not certain about that.
His father died in 69.
Your dad did? Yeah. I think my dad died in, he
I
was,
always had the impression of mine that Ari outlived him a little bit.
yeah,
He was older to start with by a couple of years too.
yeah. I think my dad, it was either 70 or 71 when he died.
Anyway, it was just a really important kind of foundation of his life, his connection with his brothers.
My father had a great rapport with the farmers. They had a tremendous respect for him. He would, those people, he had an 8th grade education. Those educated farmers out there would come in and bring their tax returns in for Dad to figure out for them. They were too lazy to do it themselves. Well, in those days, everything was on gas, and farm gas didn't have the road tax on it, so you had to file a form to get that money back. And the Lord knows they wanted that money back. They'd bring those, Dad had to fill that form out for them.
He was good at it.
He was good at it. He hunted and pecked in the typewriter, you know, like this.
Yeah, my dad did too,
And,
yeah.
But he
Ricky
did
Walker
pretty good.
He
did
finally
that from-
hired a kid out of school up there to work for him, Gil Giles, I think, and he learned to type the right way, and he kind of chided my father about his silly hunt and peck methods. The father challenged him to a race. He beat him.
His 2 fingers, he went faster than Gil did.
You know, I was in high school when they hired Gil Giles, and he was real interesting, but high school girls, we'd go in and we'd pick out something on the highest shelf and say, would you get that down for us? And then he'd get this tool, reach up there and get it down, and we'd say we didn't want it for her.
He was
He just wanted to see him in action.
He was an Englishman, and, you know, a little bit, you know, that, he never could quite catch on the fact that PA was 2 for a quarter.
But he became a school teacher.
Smoking
Yeah.
tobacco, yeah.
He became a school teacher.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I always heard that when the boys started fighting and Grandma didn't know what to do, she took a needle in her hand and covered it and poked him.
Hat pin.
Yeah, hat pin.
Well, there were rumps sticking up everywhere, she just go around and.
Break up the fight.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Paul likes to tell when they live in Montana, or in Kansas, they slept upstairs overhead in this sod building, and there was metal stakes coming down through the roof, and in a cold winter night, a little ice ball would form on the inside of that thing, on the inside. The cold would transmit through, and there'd be a little ball of ice, and you imagine how humid it was, all those boys sleeping upstairs. They just break off one of those and drop it in bed with your brother.
Well, one of the things that my dad thought was really big was when they moved to Horseshoe Bend, one day his dad went to Portland and came back with an Indian motorcycle. And apparently all 5 of them really enjoyed that. That was his big thing,
Yeah.
that Indian motorcycle. That was wonderful.
Who brought it back from Portland?
His dad.
Well, what was Indian about it?
Oh, it's a brand name.
The name.
Very
Brand.
famous brand.
Well, and my father heard him tell a story. I think he was one of his brothers was riding it down the hill, and they couldn't get it stopped. And they finally run into something, and something broke a couple of ribs. So they ran into it trying to get stopped and wrecked it. I remember, I think maybe it was father was doing the driving, but I can't remember. He was telling the story about it.
Never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine going down and getting a motorcycle and turning it over to 5?
Yeah,
I can.
We kind of made that arrange for ourselves.
Oh, one motorcycle, another motorcycle, and another motorcycle.
Yeah, loading dock out there, they hit that thing and how far they can go, you know, before they hit the ground again. That's what you do when you're 11 years old.
They talked about the teacher often boarded with them, the Horseshoe Bend teacher, and then one of the boys would go out and build the fire in the little schoolhouse. Another story I remember that is a sad story is they had a fire, well, of course they had many, many horses, and they were still using the teams to plow, do everything with, and they had a fire in the barn. My dad told the story, that he could still hear it, and they couldn't get horses out. And they actually, one went around and actually shot the horses because they couldn't get, that was just awful, the horses.
I've never heard that.
Have you heard that story too, Roland?
No, I haven't heard that.
They tried to go in and put blankets over their heads and bring it out.
Father was saying that all the boys were kind of on the ranch, right? Murray was kind of bullied his younger brothers a little bit, big older kid. Because I was the only one that really could wrestle him down or hold him back a little bit at all, so I always had to wrestle him. We'd roll around out there on the ground, he'd get the picking on him, and my father would wrestle with him and kind of keep him from bothering the other kids, and they'd finally give up and go back to work.
That deal of Julia being the teacher there, she is, well, it's Amanda Comholz, not Amanda, Herman's wife.
Homer?
Herman Campbell's
Cora.
Cora. She come out as a teacher, and she was related to Julia. So she stayed at the Julia house.
Oh,
Yes, she was.
that's right, yeah.
And then she played the piano, and Herman Comholz played the violin. So he'd come over there and court her and play that violin. And you can imagine what that was like with 6 boys.
Oh, my.
Unreal.
Yeah, Cora Campbell was real interested in family history. But she had some, she gave me some stuff.
Edwin?
Well, a couple of copies of obituaries.
Oh,
I think one of them was name of a ship that, one of the Wilsons, or some of the family came over originally from Europe. And, there was another Wilson, either a Wilson or the other side of the family, but she gave it, a copy of it to me, which I have somewhere, so we know how they got here.
How about Cora in this whole group? Isn't that,
Well,
the sister?
6 years younger.
She kinda come to visit us quite often and early on, and grew real well.
Well,
So
I
you
liked
talking
her.
about
She
Cora
was real.
Wilson, though?
Yeah, Cora Wilson.
Yes.
She's married?
She was the youngest one.
She married a fellow named Betts, he's
Yeah.
a merchant marine, and
I think she was kind of felt to be, at least by my family, a little bit of the black sheep of the family.
Why?
Little
Drank,
wild.
drank quite a
That
bit
way.
and carried on and
Oh.
that sort of thing.
She felt pretty, I think she felt safer with Wes though, didn't she come to visit Wes?
yeah.
She had a natural ability on the piano. I
Yes,
know
she
that.
did.
She could hear a tune and play it without looking at music at all.
Well, she was a school teacher. She taught some
Yeah,
of
she had a real ear for music, no question about it.
She ended up as a county clerk, though.
Yeah, she worked out
King County.
wait a minute here.
Maple Valley, out there.
Maple Valley. Clerk of the court out in Maple Valley.
I think Doug got didn't Doug get the date she passed away?
He did, but I don't count it on me right
Yeah,
now.
I just think.
We lost track of her. She,
Yeah.
His name was Raymond
Kind of
Smith.
disowned the rest of the family, and she had her friend, apparently, a good friend, of someone out of Spokane, that took charge of her affairs when she died. And we really don't know anything about her.
You know, she calls, the last half year or something, she'd call us in a while. And just talk and talk. I don't know why she did, maybe she wanted.
I know Charlie and I made a couple of trips over to the nursing home and visit with her.
So Dale and I did too. And she liked him because he came out with a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gave him, he slipped her a cigarette. She liked it real well.
Well, when I went to school in Seattle, she was living in Seattle at the time, and she used to have me come out and watch TV. That was the only TV that was the first TV I had ever seen. She had television, and so we spent some time together then, but not a lot.
It's kind of a hard life for her. Her husband would just get on his working ship and they'd travel to Tokyo, and from there they'd go down to Singapore and around, and they wouldn't be home for a month or two at a time. And she was by herself.
As a little boy, she liked you a lot,
Yeah.
and she taught you a poem.
And that's where we got our dog Toby.
I don't know.
Is that right?
We got that dog Toby from her.
Yeah, that's right. You'll have to recite that.
I can't, but I got started. When I was just a little tot. Can't remember it, oh dear.
Sitting on a hill, doing nothing all day long.
That's the one.
But just sitting still. Couldn't eat, and I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't even wash. I'd just sit there 1,000 years and rest myself like that. She taught me that poem one time.
And it stayed lodged right there.
I'm glad it came back.
I didn't think I could bring that back.
There it is.
I've got a picture of her, Raymond, and Betsy. It's, I think it's Ray's niece, maybe. She stayed with him quite a bit. And actually, she took care of their affairs afterwards. She was married to an attorney in Spokane, I think. Is that right?
I think so.
But she didn't want any interference. She was taking care of that part. She didn't want. We offered to help pay, I guess. They were thinking about it. She didn't want any help. We'll take care of her.
Well, I lost my pipeline into the Goldendale politics when Charlie died. I was in the fertilizer business. I did a lot of business running around Goldendale, and I always stop in and visit Charlie a little bit, and he always had a pearl of wisdom. drop about what was going around Oakdale.
Oh, I missed, I missed him so much, during political moments, and I don't know that we would be in total agreement anymore. But then I think, I just kinda think he might change.
He had this heart bypass, I think it added 10 years to his life.
It did,
Up
exactly.
until then, he was, not in good shape at all. He got
Taken
that
back to
bypass, he
Glisson
walked back home. He made the mistake my father had. He drove to work a whole block and a half. He drove home, he drove to work. He didn't walk any at all.
When you started walking.
He started walking, and it was about 3 blocks, I think. Finally got home and back, and he did that.
Oh, he walked at night too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he started walking, he dropped some weight, and he really just had about 10
And
years.
then he got his eyes operated on. He was sitting there reading those contracts when he was 75 years old, and I had glasses at all. And, it's amazing.
It really was.
My father had the opportunity for that type of bypass. He
Well,
may have survived
my
it.
dad was actually Dr. Starr, who was the primo bypass guy, and he was one of the first, well, maybe not one of the first, but the night before his surgery, he came in and he said to Dad, he said, I didn't realize you were 70 years old. We don't do heart surgery on people who are 70 years old. And my dad was taken aback and he said, well, what if I told you that was wrong? That that was wrong. And the guy said,
I worked that over a little bit.
and the guy said, okay. So isn't that interesting too, how things have changed at 70?
Yep.
Now you would be doing heart surgery on 85-year-old people or more. But that was just a
Yeah, it was
miracle for him.
there was a obvious, clear difference. It sure showed up there.
He was taking nitroglycerin and he hid it, kind of. And then I think, oh God, I've upset him again. I'm arguing with him again.
There's one chapter that I was recalling, and I lived in Horseshoe Bend before I went to school, and there was a couple, three Wilsons owned that grocery store and pump down in Quickitat.
Oh, yes.
And they had the carbonated water out there, and they were selling.
Well, I was, Dad, I don't know who was in with him on that.
My father was in on that.
Yeah, I think Harry was there, and then Dad ran the store, but he also, like you said, there was natural carbonation.
Yeah.
Carbon dioxide bubbling out of the water. And they built, and they subsequently built the dry ice plant there.
That's right.
Where they take the carbon dioxide and turn it into.
There's a story my father sold. He says we sold that carbonated spring to someone who wanted to make dry ice for more money. I thought I had the world with a tail and downhill drag. The word to use.
But they were bottling pop there using that carbon dioxide.
They had an Indian head.
I got 3 bottles. The
We
Indian
got
had
3 too
They
also.
Indian had pop bottles.
They'd pack it up in barrels and sawdust and send it to the various hospitals around the country. They were buying that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They were way ahead of their time because they were selling mineral water.
There is a story about your dad having a fellow working for him in that store. Young kid, he always had a young kid working for him.
I didn't know. I didn't think he could afford anybody with him.
That's why he had the young kid.
He was only 12 years old.
Anyway, he was bunking there, and he'd probably feed him and whatnot, and doing stuff for him. Well, they had trouble getting that kid up in the morning. Young fellas have a tendency not to move. So that went on, and finally one morning he called him, and the kid wouldn't respond again, so he had a pistol, and he just went out there right alongside his head and shot it through the mattress. Next morning, he was up and going.
They could hear it again.
Father couldn't always walk with a limp, and that was because one time when he was farming on, I think in Horseshoe Bend,
I think it's the last one.
left leg, and he walked with a limp all his life, and the doctor just laid him down in the door of the cabin and sewed it up.
Whoa.
I think he was just a kid.
He was, yeah,
He wasn't very
yeah,
young.
that's probably
Very
true.
young.
And he loaded, one of the things he did a click at, he loaded lumber in, boxcars, Lake West did too. And I heard him tell about that, how to wrestle lumber into the boxcars, with the lumber company there, and hauled it out to the, railroad, hauled it off. I think he worked at anything he could work at.
I think so.
We have pictures of kids sitting on those piles of lumber down there, because they were everywhere. It seemed to me like. What was the name of that lumber company? The old-
J. Neal.
Neal's,
Yeah.
largest ponderosa pine sawmill anywhere.
Hmm.
They finally shut her down.
Yep. Closed it down.
Mother went to Martin Frank's store. Mother had the habit of walking with her hands behind her back with her purse hanging back there and looking here. And if you ever went into Martin Frank in Portland, there's about a big bunch of steps right downstairs.
Steps across one
Four
yard.
and a half all the way. When you went by the front door,
Down.
she was over tea kettle all the way down.
Well, I'll tell you, their security was there immediately carrying her practically because they were so afraid she was hurt.
And they never hurt her a bit. She just
Relaxed.
dust herself off and put the
10 or
purse
12
on her back
steps.
and wander us off.
Yeah, she always did that. You think she could get robbed, and she went down the street with her purse back here.
Yeah. Somebody with a sharp knife could have it.
Yeah. Well, you know, we might be surprised. We might get a whack at something. She didn't mind turning around and taking a whack at you.
She did have a habit like that.
Yeah.
Won't be both of them know.
If you kind of never reacted, but if you did something wrong, you got a slap right across the side of the face just that quick.
Well, she tried to spank me one time when I was in high school, and it didn't work very good because I was too big. Tried to do something. I
Didn't
never-
bother the old man. He gave her a whipping one time. I remember that.
Oh, well, no.
Oh.
Story about her running into the car in front of the church.
Oh, my mother, yeah.
Her mother.
She couldn't see very good, so she went to church in Bickleton, and she drove herself over there in the car, and Sunday morning, she drove in there, and she drove right up into the corner and run right into Martin Copenhaffer's car. And she was kind of mad, because that Copenhaffer parked in her spot. $1,700 to get all the wriggles things out of the car.
Oh, yeah, when she passed away, that car was just full of dents. You see her going into the parking lot, and she hit the side of the house. There was a gate.
Had two gate posts out there, she straightened it,
And
almost
she
finished
did
off
those
that
things.
car, those two gate posts.
And I said, Mother, you hit one of those. And she says, well, she says, that's all right, isn't it? Or something.
It didn't hurt it.
It didn't hurt it any, I don't know.
Still ran.
It was running.
Finally took the gate posts out, that solved the
Yeah.
problem.
Well, maybe we're done, what do you think?
Yep.
Is that the case?
That's right.